Hey everybody, so welcome to a Twilight Cup Tournament PvP video. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my thought process when I pick my Pokemon to go against the opponent's Pokemon. So in round 1, I'm against Charlie V. He has Ivysaur, Toxicroak, Clefable, Houndoom, Seviper, and Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Raticate and Drapion both beat Ivysaur, Houndoom, Seviper, and Alolan Ninetales. That's one Pokemon that beats 4 of his. This is the kind of thing you want to look for when choosing your team. And then I brought Venomoth, which beats Ivysaur and Toxicroak. Even though it only beats 2 Pokemon, if Toxicroak ever comes out, Venomoth will promptly destroy it. And lastly, I brought Tentacruel. Tentacruel is a very strong sweeper if the opponent doesn't have any shields left. So really, my strategy for this tournament is to apply a lot of pressure on the opponent early so that they burn their shields, and then sweep with Tentacruel. As you can see here, my Drapion did a very good job of applying a lot of pressure, so he had no shields left. And as soon as he had no shields left, I brought out my Tentacruel to clean up the field. And that's the end of round 1. Round 2, I'm against Raffian. She has Tentacruel, Skuntank, Umbreon, Azumarill, Gardevoir, and Toxicroak. Alolan Raticate is a very strong pick here because it beats Skuntank, Umbreon, Azumarill, and Gardevoir. Well, it doesn't really beat Azumarill, but it's close enough for my purposes. That's 4 Pokemon covered by 1 Pokemon. Once again, this is the kind of thing you want to look for. And then next I brought Venomoth because, as I said earlier, it just completely destroys Toxicroak if it comes out, which we're gonna see right here. I actually end up using the wrong charge move here. I used Psychic, which Umbreon resists when I could have used Silver Wind, which is super effective. But that's okay, since it's the last Pokemon, I still have 3, plus my Tentacruel hasn't come out yet. Let's talk about Tentacruel. So Tentacruel is a very strong sweeper because it has a very high damage per energy cost of its charge moves. The only problem is that it takes a very long time for him to charge his attacks, and if the opponent shields it, he loses almost every matchup. That's why it's really important for my strategy to apply a lot of pressure early to get those shields out so that my Tentacruel can come in and pretty much one-shot anything that comes out. Well, that's the end of round 2. So round 3, I'm against Arovian. He has Skuntank, Togetic, Toxicroak, Azumarill, Alolan Muk, and Alolan Raticate. Both Alolan Raticate, Drapion, and Qwilfish are very good starters this time. I chose Qwilfish because it beats Skuntank, Togetic, Toxicroak, Azumarill, Alolan Muk, and Alolan Raticate. Actually, it doesn't really beat Togetic, but it gets him low enough that it makes it worth it. It makes the risk worth it because it covers his entire team as a lead. And my Alolan Raticate beats Skuntank, Togetic, Azumarill, not Azumarill, but you know, we've been over this. It kinda gets him low enough, but it beats Alolan Muk and Alolan Raticate as well. Just with those 2 Pokemon, I have really good coverage of his entire team without even bringing in my Tentacruel yet. So I bring in my Tentacruel as a cleanup crew, even though the Qwilfish and Alolan Raticate can pretty much handle this fight by themselves. So that match went without a hitch. But the second, third, and fourth matches I had some technical problems. So I switched into Venomoth into his Toxicroak, but I get this bug that my swap screen comes back up and I can't press my charge moves. This happened 3 times in a row, so we had to rematch 3 times and held up the entire turn. Even on the 3rd time it happened again, as you can see here, but I said he can have the win because we're just holding up the entire tournament. I end up losing this match because of that. You can see that my Hyper Fang and Crunch were charged up, but I couldn't click it because the Tentacruel swap screen was up. So now we're 1-1, and I decided to go with my first team, which is Quillfish, Alolan Eradicate, and Tentacruel because the first match went really well for me. My phone actually bugged out and didn't record one of the matches. Luckily, it recorded the match that was important. It was a really close match. This is Silly Mars and he has Venusaur, Quillfish, Toxicroak, Skuntank, Azumarill, and Venomoth. I led with Quillfish this match despite the Venusaur because it beats the Toxicroak, the Skuntank, and Azumarill. And it also has the mirror matchup with the Quillfish. My thought process is that Venusaur isn't really a good lead, but Skuntank and Azumarill are. So it was more likely that Skuntank and Azumarill comes out, so I went with my Quillfish. As we can see here, he swapped to Azumarill and I swapped to Tentacruel. I know I've been saying that Tentacruel is a good closer when the opponent has no shields, but since he swapped to Azumarill, Tentacruel beats Azumarill because of Poison Jab and Sludge Wave, despite having shields up. So after the Azumarill comes out, Skuntank comes back out with the prepare the charge move, which is Crunch. Knocks out my Tentacruel, but I have a fully charged Aqua Tail on my Quillfish, so that knocks his Skuntank out. And then the Venomoth comes out, which might make it a little close. Actually, it's gonna be really close. Just watch. He used Silver Wind, and he charges it up again! But just kidding, it's a poison thing. I almost lost that. I was like, there's no way a second Silver Wind charges up before my Alolan Eradicate gets any charge moves up. But I was freaking out. Alright, so round 5 with Big Chef. He's got Grimer, Azumarill, Togetic, Skuntank, Alolan Ninetales, and Toxicroak. So I started out with Quillfish because it beats the Grimer, the Azumarill, the Skuntank, and the Toxicroak. It actually loses to Togetic, but since it was taking so little damage from the fast attacks, I didn't really think about it at the time, and I end up burning all of my shields while he still has 2 of his. This is a really bad scenario for my team and my strategy. And with that loss, I thought I should change out my last Pokemon. Instead of Tentacruel, I'm going to use Drake. I used the wrong move there, and that almost cost me the match. So at this point, I was worried that my Qwilfish didn't have enough time to get his Sludge Wave out, so I started using Aqua Tail. But as you can see, I used 2 Aqua Tails in that time frame, and if I had used Sludge Wave instead, my Qwilfish would have taken a very large lead, and this match wouldn't have been that close. There was a lot of mistakes this match, and I almost lost this matchup because of my own mistakes. Here's that swap bug again. And like I predicted, the Toxicroak did come out and destroyed my Raticate. If my last Pokemon was Drapion, I would have lost this match. And that's the end of round 5. We're now in round 6, which is the finals match of the night. Everybody else did their matches first, and everybody watched us do this last round on a big screen. So this is Chicken Sob, and he has Venomoth, Alolan Muk, Toxicroak, Azumarill, Frostlass, and Skuntank. In my head, his possible leads are Azumarill, Frostlass, and Skuntank, with Frostlass and Skuntank being the most likely. So I started with Qwilfish, which beats both of those. And of course I went with the Alolan Raticate because it beats the Venomoth, the Alolan Muk, the Azumarill, the Frostlass, and the Skuntank. And then lastly I went with my typical sweeper, which is Tentacruel. And I got so lucky here with 1 extra charge move. And once again his shields are down, so I went ahead and brought out my sweeper. This is gonna hurt, just watch. Beautiful sweep right there. So I'm feeling pretty good about this team, so in the next match I did the same thing. Same strategy, burn shields early. Shields are gone, bring in Tentacruel for the sweep. Qwilfish is going down, but he has no shields left, so here comes my Tentacruel. And that's the end of the tournament, and GG's all around. It was really fun. 45 people were there, and I'm probably gonna go there again for the next cup. The best part is I didn't know there was actually trophies at the end of it. So they gave me this metallic trophy. It's not cheap looking or feeling at all. It's like actually metal, it's got some weight to it, and there's a custom 3D printed badge that they gave us for the first and second place winners. Just look at how awesome this thing is. It's like so shiny. It's legit actually. So if you're near Chino Hills, you want to get yourself a shiny trophy, a custom badge, you should definitely drop by. So, thanks for watching, see you guys next time.